You guys asked me a lot about chromatics, so here you go. Hi, my dear jazz guitar aficionados around the world. Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from Austria. In this jazz guitar lesson, I'm going to be teaching you how to incorporate chromatics into your guitar solo. I'll teach you when to use them because that's the most important thing. I'm going to be showing you 4 chromatic licks. I'll explain everything detailed, note for note, slow and easy. And each lick will be played fast and a slow playthrough. I've also made tabs and backing tracks, which as usual can be downloaded from one of the links down below in the info box, in the description box. Please don't forget to hit return to merchant at the end of your PayPal lesson, PayPal payment. All right, let's get started. Chromatics are tones that are not included in the scale you're currently in. And passing tones connect one scale tone to the next scale tone in a linear motion. So this can be ascending or descending. Let's say you're in the key of C and you have C and D, both in the key of C, and in between you have the chromatic note. And this can be this is a passing tone if you go up, so D flat connects C to D, or descending. So if it's a linear motion, ascending or descending, then it's called a passing tone. And we'll check out a lick in this one and I'll explain you how to work with it right now. All right, let's check out a C major scale here, the 5th pattern. I guess you all know this one. And the goal is to play descending and put scale tones on the beat and the chromatic passing tones on all the off beats. Sometimes we can't exactly do that, but most of the times we try to do a chord, especially chord tones on beat 1 and 3, and scale tones on all the beats and chromatic tones on the off beats. Okay, let's check this out. I start with the B. So 1, we play in 8 notes, okay? 1, then I take the chromatic on beat and on the off beat. On beat 2, I'm on a scale tone again. 1 and 2. If I continue now by playing the scale, 1 and 2 and, everything would switch around again. So I play chromatic in between. 1 and 2 and is the chromatic. 3 is a scale tone and a chord tone. Perfect. 1 and 2 and 3 and chromatic. 4 is a scale tone, not the best one, I agree, but 4 and in this case is a chord tone. But I mean, you can play chord tones whenever you want, but the chromatic should be on the offbeats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 is a scale tone and chromatic. 2 is a chord or scale tone and is a chord or scale tone. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and now go 3 is a chord tone of 4A or a scale tone for C and is the chromatic. 4 is a scale tone and chord tone, and I play a chromatic again in order to get my resolution on beat 1 of the next bar. And that's the 3rd of the C major chord, or the 5th of A minor, but it's a chord tone anyway. 1, and I end with 2 chord tones. We like to end our lines on 1 or 2 chord tones, okay? And we like to end lines on off beats because that's syncopated, has more drive, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Now please make sure that you make your pull-offs from offbeat to beats. This is because of the jazz phrasing and jazz related styles. I have a phrasing video up here on YouTube. I'll put a card on here somewhere. Please check it out. It's very, very important for you playing. Okay, all right. And since chromatic is usually played, chromaticism is used when playing fast, because there are so many wrong notes in there that it should be quite fast. So I'm going to play through that for you at fast tempo with the play along. Here you go. All right, now let's try the same thing with the D minor chord. That's D Dorian in jazz. We use the D Dorian scale, and I use this pattern here, the second one I call it. 10th fret. All right, and you can use the following link since it's a little longer. It's like I think 2 bars. Yeah, 2 bars. You can use it over any vamp in D minor or modal songs like John Coltrane's Impression, or based on that, Miles Davis wrote So What? Same tune, different melody. Saves on royalties. And all right, here we go. I start on a chord tone of D minor 7, that's the 5th, the A. Then I have a chromatic. 1 and 2 is the a scale tone, and is the chromatic. 3, strong beat, heavy beat, is the 3rd of the D. Then I go chromatic on the and. 4 is the root. 4 and is chromatic. And beat number 1 is the 7th of the D minor chord. Right? That's pretty easy to play and pretty awesome fast lick. All right, but we continue, and now I want to ascend. I want to change the motion, ascending, the movement to an ascending movement. I go via chromatic. We on 1 and is a chromatic, the A flat. 2 is a chord and scale tone. 2, and now I go upwards. Where were we? 1 and 2, and is a scale tone. 3 is a chord tone, and is the chromatic again. 3 is the root, a chord tone of course. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and is a scale tone, and one of the last chord is the 3rd of the chord. You can stop on 1, or you can add, I don't know, something like this. I think I ended this on 1 this time. All right. See, it also works ascending, but it's played a lot more often descending. So don't play too much ascending chromatics, okay? For a longer time, just shortly. And now let's hear this with the playback at fast speed. An enclosure means that you play around a target note from 2 sides. You enclose it from 2 sides. Let's say we're in the key of C. We want to play to a C major, 7 chord. We play in this C major scale. That's the first pattern. And let's say we want to target this B. That's the major 7 of the chord. Now, I can play a diatonic enclosure. That means just tones from the scale. That would be above the B, the next scale tone is C, and below the B, the next scale tone is A. Since I'm in this pattern now, I'll play this A here. C, A, target note. Scale tone above, scale tone below, target note. Now, if I want to have a chromatic enclosure, I play chromatic from above, which is the C, which happens to be a scale tone, even a chord tone. Chromatic from below is the B flat and target tone. That's a two-note enclosure, chromatic enclosure. And since we want to have the good notes on beats and the chromatics on off beats, let's start from this side. So this would be count number, let's say you want this, the target note on beat 1 of the next bar, you would have to start on beat 4. 4 and is now the chromatic, 1 is the target tone. Don't start too often on the 4 or on any beat with the chromatic. 4 and 1 is not as good as 4 and 1. Okay, let's check out 3-note enclosures. Now let's move to the G. We're in the key of C again, this first pattern, and I want this G, which is the 5th of the C chord, as my target note. All right, if I play, let's assume, actually we have to assume that our target note is of course a good note, a chord tone, and this is on beats usually. If I now put 3 8 notes before the beat, I have to start on an off beat. All right, that's very important. It's all about timing and resolution. If I start on the off beat, I want to start with the chromatic because that's supposed to be the off beat. So let's say our target note is beat 1, then you have to start on count 3 and. 3 and would be the chromatic, 4 would be a better tone, a good tone, and 4 and can be anything chromatic maybe again. All right, let's check this out. On count 3 and, I start from the chromatic above. This is the A flat. Then I go on count number 4, I play a scale tone from below, that's the F. G, the scale tone below is F. And on 4 and, I play that chromatic in between. That's also a passing note now, because it has a linear motion here. All right, so we have, here's the target note. 3 and 4 is a scale tone, and is a passing chromatic, and 1 is the target tone. Na, 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 na. All right, we can do the same thing from the other side. We can start from below, and we have a chromatic here. Does not belong to the scale. 3 and 4 is a scale tone above the G, that's the A. And 4 and is the chromatic passing note in between that, and that goes to the 1. See, with 3-note enclosures, you always have one tone on one side of the target note, on the left side, for example, and 2 notes on the other side. Or the other way around, like we had it before, 1 note above and 2 notes from below. All right, it always works that way. Again, keep by building your chromatic lines, keep your chromatics on the offbeats. All right, let's check lick number 3. All right, for lick number 3, we apply all this to arpeggios. This is the best of both worlds because we get the pleasing sound of arpeggios paired with the tension that the chromatics have. All right, I am in that first pattern, C major. The underlying chord would be a C major or maybe an A minor 7. All right, I start on the 8th fret of the E string, that's the C. My target note is the B. I have a 2-note enclosure, 1 and 2. The and is the offbeat, and that's the chromatic. Perfect. 1 and 2. Now my next target tone is that G here, just like we had it before, but I'm strictly staying in this pattern now. I start from the chromatic above the G, that's the A flat. Scale tone below is the F, but I play it here, I don't play it here. You can play it here, it doesn't matter really, but I stay in this first pattern. So chromatic above the G is G sharp, scale tone below is F, passing note to the G is the F sharp, and here's the resolution, the target tone. And everything falls perfectly fine. 1 and chromatic, 2 and chromatic, 3 scale tone and chromatic, 4 is the target tone on the beat. All right? Then I go to the F again, that's the 4 and. And now the next thing I want to do is I want to have this target tone. Which one is it? Let me see. Actually, this one. Well, what I did here is two note enclosures. All right, I start on the this is count 1. This is the third of the C, the E, 9th fret. Then I have a chromatic on one end, and 2 is either my target tone, that's the 9th. It doesn't always have to be a chord tone, it can also be the 9th. The 9th is almost like a chord tone. Then I go down to the B and the C. This is count 3 and we are on the root, perfect. And actually, this is also, if this is the target note, which it is, I have a 2-note enclosure again via the D, that scale tone above, chromatic below, and resolution. So this is kind of a 2 note. And the last tone is the E, because I like to end on 6th. Right, that's the chord tone, of course. Here's the lick at slow tempo. And here it is at fast tempo. Now let's go to the D minor chord again up here, second pattern of D Dorian that we had, and let's play around that F major 7 arpeggio, F, A, C, E, which is a D minor 9 arpeggio also, and that's called a superimposition. I have a video up here on YouTube for superimpositions, go check it out. All right. The first thing we want to do is we want to enclose this F. That's the first thing we want to do. And I start on 1 and this time. 1 and, because this is a chord tone, otherwise everything would be flipped around. Then scale from above is 2. Chromatic is on 2 and. And here is my target tone, the F. 1 and 2 and 3. Now I have a next target note is my A, right? That's the arpeggio. We want to do everything on, apply this all to the arpeggio. A is my next target tone. So what I do is I start from a chromatic above, because we're on count, what we are, 1 and 2 and 3 and. We're on count 3 and, so I start on the chromatic. Then the scale tone from below the A is the G. Passing note G sharp to the A, to the target note, okay? Now I just finish the arpeggio. No enclosures here. now I want to go down to the D via the passing note. Oops, sorry. I play down to the C and have a passing note. Actually, first the scale tone and now the chromatic. All right, so I'm just playing down the scale as we did in, I think, the second lick. All right. Then I have a 3-note enclosure to the F target note. This time scale tone above, chromatic above, chromatic below, which is also scale tone, and the resolution, the target tone. And then another target tone, the D. Right, so let me play this slowly first. 3, 4, 1. Here's the D minor. And now let's listen to that at fast tempo with the playback. If you're interested in some more chromatics, I have some really cool fusion licks up here on YouTube with a lot of chromaticism in there. Also, I recommend my Charlie Parker licks, Joe Pass licks, which should be up soon. At the moment you're viewing, they're probably already up. And also check out basic stuff like Dorian lines. I have a lot of chromatic stuff in there too. I hope you liked it. If you did so, please give me a fat thumbs up. Don't forget to share the love and subscribe my channel. I see you next week. Servus, baba.